We are short on test caps experience. ANZ has produced to some degree inconsistency of performance.
It's not a challenge that Noeline can't overcome, someone that came in and turned the Ferns round to win a World Cup. Well, I don't think there'd be many doubters, put it that way.
Maddie Gordon, to me in that final, she looked the freshest out there. She just was going all day. So yeah. I think she'll get a lot of court time. She's fit and we know she's fast.
Like if Aaliyah had been playing for the Stars on Sunday, what would the difference have been? She's got the height, she's got the smarts.
And her volume, every game she's shooting.
Big volume. Sam Winders has always played really good tests against the Australians, always.
So if they make the final, I don't think you'd see Phoenix and Silver together after the way they've played together the last 5 weeks.
I'm going Manua. She knows how those players play.
Nau mai ki te hōtaka o te poi tara whiti kiwi. I'm Bridget Tunnicliffe. The ANZ Premiership is done and dusted, the Silver Ferns are about to go into camp, and a Commonwealth Games team will be named on the 27th of June. Trying to predict who is going to be in that side is harder than it's ever been, but we'll give it a go. And to help me do that, I'm joined by former Southern Steel stalwart Wendy Frew and the newly appointed New Zealand men's coach Dion Te Whetu. Kia ora kōrua. Wendy, let's just touch on that ANZ Grand Final over the weekend. The Pulse blitzed the Stars. How about that Pulse defence? It was like they completely choked the Stars.
Oh, I thought the Pulse defence was outstanding. They really brought their A game in the final, and I think throughout the whole season, the defence for the Pulse has been really strong. So the Stars didn't really have any answers for it, so they'll be really disappointed. But in saying that, the Pulse put out a really clinical 60 minutes. Maya Wilson's volume was really low in the final, and, she was starting to build her game up and shoot some and good volume. I think she was 21 from 25, so for her that's pretty low. And, we just seen a really slick performance from the Pulse team. They won every quarter and they really took the Stars out of the game in every area of the court.
Yeah, I was genuinely expecting a game that was going to go down to the wire. Dion, what is it about McCausland-Jury's coaching? She's just enhanced her coaching credentials yet again, right?
Yeah, Vet. Look, she's done her time, right? She's got a long history in grassroots netball, and she's also had her own successful netball academy. And I think those learnings and skill sets for a vet have set her up to succeed at the top level. She really understands how to pull a group together, and she'll bring the right people on to make that happen. And quite, I guess, quite similar to what Ruth used to do back in the day. She wasn't afraid to bring the right people in, and it really worked for her as well. She's an amazing communicator. She creates loyalty, and she aims for perfection. She's innovative. Watching a lot of teams this year, I think just about every single team was playing box defence. It was like cookie cutter sort of mentality when it came to D. And to Wendy's point before, Yvette took that, but she tweaked it because a lot of the teams were used to playing against a box defence, and Yvette just tweaked it, and they just, like Wendy said, they just suffocated the Stars and took them out of the game.
And the Mystics had a spluttering into this season, the defending champions, and I have to replay a clip from an episode back in early April. Dion, you're laughing. The Mystics were looking unstoppable, and I asked you if they had any weaknesses, and you must have had a crystal ball, because let's have a listen.
We'll just go back to round one, right? So I think that exposed their biggest weaknesses, and that is if Grace isn't on the court. How much confidence does she instill in that team? How much easier does she make it on the whole team when she is out there on the court? So I don't think there is a weakness. I think their weaknesses, if anything, would be their bench. And I'm not saying that they've got weak players on the bench, but if Grace, and I dearly hope she doesn't, touch wood, gets injured, I think the effect psychologically that would have on that team would be quite big.
That's quite eerie, listening back to that. Dion, I mean, when Grace got injured, I think people were surprised at how much the Mystics suffered, but the psychological effect probably played a part in it too, right?
Yeah, plain and simple it did. Grace, if you're listening, I did touch wood, so don't blame me. But, yes, but they've also had ample opportunity in games when Grace was back where they had big leads and they could have put their bench people on to get that experience and feel the pressure, and more importantly, like psychologically, but also for the feeders to get used to bringing that ball to the circle edge consistently instead of having that luxury of being able to bomb it in from distance. In saying that, I think Namana played really well, and I was just blown away by they'd be in tight games and she'd get taken off. And
it was that game against the game against the Pulse, yes. And they were down only by 4. Namana, who was one of the best on court in their first half, and yes. When Helene took her off, I didn't get it. Yeah,
look, a lot of people didn't, and the smart thinking would be this, right? Namana has been here all year training against the Pulse. And it showed because she was handling whatever was coming at her. So she's used to that Pulse defence. I mean, they play each other, once a week. Why would you take her off the court? And so, I guess, psychologically, when I say this effect it had on the team, it also had an effect on the management staff as well, I feel. So it's a shame. It was a shame.
Yeah. I think they all felt a lot of pressure over those weeks. The Pulse this morning, they've got the recruitment season under the way, announced their full side for next year. The biggest talking point is Malawian international Joyce Mvula has been signed on. Wendy, I guess as soon as they knew that they were going to lose Alia Dunn, they knew they needed to recruit a high-volume, accurate shooter, and New Zealand doesn't have tons of those.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, good on them for looking elsewhere and getting a good quality player in. I'm not sure what happened with Aaliyah, but I think she's a really big loss for the Pulse. I think she's been so impressive in their most outings, her volume's high, her shooting percentage is high. What I like about the Pulse, I've got the lineup sorted already for 2023. I think when you've won a championship, it's important to, get that strong team players and a few solid training partners also. So I think they've done really well recruiting and getting proactive and getting it done nice and early.
Yeah, they've still got a solid core there, Wendy. Like, Mvula will add to that. She's been shooting at 91%. She's 185 tall. So from what I've seen of her, she likes to hold and ask for that high ball, but there's no way she's going to get away with that playing in New Zealand. So I think Yvette we'll be looking at that and working out how she can add to her game with creating a bit more of a moving circle. But she's a strong player. I think she's a really good pickup. Aaliyah is a huge loss, both on and off the court. So it'd be interesting to see where she ends up. I think we'll find out shortly.
Maybe the mainland. Who knows?
I'd say it'll be the mainland.
Yeah. Right. Okay, let's move to the Silver Ferns. So earlier this week, 27 Silver Ferns trialists were named. They head into camp next week, and the following Monday, a team will be named for the Commonwealth Games. Sadly, Karen Berger was not named due to injury, just the latest blow to the side. I spoke to coach Dame Noeline Taurua after the group was named, and she was pretty frank about the challenges they face and lack of test caps among the current playing group. Let's take a listen.
So, you can't replace that type of expertise and experience and also knowledge as to what's required at a pinnacle event. Look, it's going to be different. It does make things really difficult. Just means that we have to work really hard and smartly.
I mean, you've had, all these things are just out of your control. Pregnancies, people coming back from babies, injuries, people coming back from injuries, people coming back from COVID, which can set people back a little bit as well. Do you see winning gold in Birmingham is going to be tougher than winning gold in Liverpool?
Yeah, look, I would, at this moment, I would say yes. And I've been quite honest with people within Netball New Zealand that I think it's going to be tough for us even to actually make the grand finals. I know the calibre and have been tracking players over in SSN and also in Vitality Cup. So, we've done a lot of analysis work on where players are at, but also in comparison to where we are at and, as you mentioned, experience. I do feel that grand finals or getting to that stage is going to be difficult. What I am excited about or very confident is the planning and, the analysis work that we've done as a Silver Fern management team, we're very clear on the recipe for success. We'll see next week as to where individuals sit in the ingredients that they're going to provide.
Are you going to push the final last chance saloon yo-yo test as far back into next week as you can?
Yeah, I am. Look, I'm open on this and, out of the 27 players that we do have, there are currently 5 who have not met the yo-yo standard. So we will push as much as we can to try and get as many players through. But probably from where I see players at the moment, some of them are really low. So, unless a miracle's going to happen, then we will look long-term for the build-up for Netball World Cup.
It feels like you're working with a pretty complex jigsaw puzzle here. Is this going to be one of, I guess, the more complex teams you're going to have to pick?
Yes, it is. Definitely. And it is complex, mainly around we are short on test caps experience. ANZ has produced, to some degree, inconsistency of performance. So we've taken a different approach in really looking at the strengths of individuals and marrying that up with the game plan or the game style. So it is very complex, but I'm very confident by the work that we've done. And now I'm just waiting to see who will stand up.
So I guess a bit of a reality check there from Noeline. They've lost over 450 test caps since the World Cup. More recently, they lost Jane Watts and now Karen Berger from the defensive end. Massive question mark over Emilian Ignacio. Will she be fit in time? Wendy, any way you look at it, the Silver Ferns are going to be up against it in Birmingham.
Yeah, they are going to be up against him, and as we heard Noel say, she's just upfront about it. There's no excuses. It is what it is. And saying that, I still have a huge amount of respect for Noel, and I think she'll pull whoever's in that 12 together, and they'll win a gold. She's experienced. She said in the interview, she's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and they'll leave no stone unturned leading into that competition. So I'm excited to see where they go, what they select, and in terms of the fitness. And she talks about the yo-yo. I mean, that standard's been around for 2-3 years now, so it's a reasonable target that players have got to hit. And if they can't hit it, I think it's great that she sticks to her word and they're not available for selection. So it's so a lot of people say it brutal, but if you're playing international level at a Comm Games or a World Champ, you've got to be running, you've got to be fit, and you've got to last the whole tournament. They're huge tournaments on the body, and you've got to be in good nick to last and perform in that final minute. So I think it's exciting. I can't wait to see the progress for next week and where they go with it all.
Dion, the way she talks about the fact she's been tracking players from the SSN and UK Vitality League for the last 2 years, I mean, the data collection alone must be insane, but she's so methodical. She's always got a plan.
Yeah, it's probably, having spoken with Noeline a couple of times, it's probably Debs that's more been doing the analysis work on what's been going on over there, and she'll be just feeding it in basic terms back to Noeline about what's going on and who's doing what. I do also have faith. I think losing that many caps is it's a big blow, and I think Karen was probably the icing on the cake really for them, but. Yeah, it's not a challenge that Noeline can't overcome. Someone that came in and turned the Ferns around in 18 months to win a World Cup. Well, I don't think there'll be many doubters, put it that way.
Yeah. So the Comm Games side has been named on Monday week, and going by what she said, the trials are going to tell her a lot. The gates are pretty wide open. I've asked you to pick 5 from each third. It sounds like they're likely to name 3 reserves, and I can't narrow it down to 4 each third, so let's go with 5. Let's start with the shooters. Wendy, have you got a 5 there?
I've only picked 4, mate.
Oh, wow.
I haven't listened to you.
Straight to it.
I'm
being
brutal. I'm picking my 4.
Yeah.
I'm picking the 4 players that I feel will be there. Got Tapai, Grace, Aaliyah, and Tiana. That's me.
Wow. Dion, what are yours?
Well, I've got Grace, and then I've bracketed Maya and Aaliyah. I hope Amelia Ann nails that yo-yo.
Yeah,
they need her.
Yeah. Oh, for me, if she passes the yo-yo, she's in.
Yeah.
Like, no question.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely no question. Yeah. She's like ranked first. Yeah. I think they'll take Bailey regardless because she can play goal shoot. And she's proved that before. You know, she can park up there and she's got that holding ability, in particular her vertical. And I've got, I've just lolly scrambled everyone here. But, you know, looking at Tapaya, I think depending on, you listen to Noel's talking about a recipe, is Tapaya in that recipe? And I think she well could be. So sorry, not much help, but...
Well, Tapaya has had, I saw stats a couple of weeks ago, and she's had her best accuracy this year. Yeah. She took on a massive workload, 82%. That's her best shooting accuracy since she debuted in 2011. So she's put herself in a good position. And I think, okay, let's say Ignacio doesn't pass the yo-yo, then they are seriously lacking experience, right? And so that, to me, really opens the gate for TP or Bailey Mbez. Yep. And the other aspect of that, if Ignacio is not available, I think there's a close battle there between Dunn and Wilson. But Dunn has got 4 test caps. Wilson's got something like 27. And that's why I think Wilson might edge Dunn, because we're going to be so light on test caps if Ignacio's not there.
Yeah. I agree with you to a certain point, but then I look at, like, if Aaliyah had been playing for the Stars on Sunday, what would the difference have been?
Was it more the mid-court, though, that couldn't get it to Wilson? Or was it Wilson? Or a bit of both?
She wasn't available.
Yeah. Look, I think she was missing, you know, like she should have been holding higher. You're playing against people like, if you're playing against a person like Kelly, you've got to hold her. I mean, I shouldn't be giving away my Cadbury means, but, you know, you've got to hold her high up in the circle and make her guess which way things are going to go. And Maya just... did the same thing, I feel, the whole game. And to your point, someone who's got that many test caps, she should have been doing more.
Should know. It's a finals. Like, you know, you've been around a long time. You should be able to change your game through the quarter, or the coach should give you a message at the break and you should be like, boom, I'm going to change this up. But, yeah, for me, she's just too inconsistent, I think. And I think, she's got more caps. I mean, I don't know if Dunn will even hit the fitness target, but...
I just think Aaliyah is a triple threat for me. You know, she's got the height, she's got the smarts, she can move, and she's incredibly strong. And let's face it, she can shoot.
Yeah.
And her volume, every game she's shooting.
Big volume.
You know, a huge volume. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you look at this shooting group, and then you think back to when the likes of, I mean, you know, I'm probably pushing the boat out a bit far here, but you think about when we had the likes of Irene playing. Those goal attacks were taking 3 shots a game in international tests. The Belinda Collings, that you know, they had a wicked mid-court, you know, but their mid-court had a high turnover rate. But all they knew what they needed to do was just get the ball to Irene. And I think, you know, the reality is now your goal attacks in New Zealand have to shoot more volume. And I think if Tapaya's on, she's on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or Grace Wickey's at the back and we just biff it.
Well, I don't think we'll get away with that against the likes of Australia, because they'll
they're too smart. They'll get on her body and confuse the space.
The one thing that I really think does give us an advantage with Wiki is that the Australian and English and Jamaican defenders have barely or not at all marked her, right?
Yep.
She's had like 2 test caps, and that's a really good weapon for us, I reckon. If she really hits her straps, they can analyse all the videos, but they haven't got the feel for Wiki. So that's something in our favour.
Yeah, yep. And I agree with you, but then those players, that, you know, they're playing against the Janelle Fowlers week in, week out. You know, they're playing against the big tall shooters that are an abundant overseas. And I honestly think the Jamaican defenders, they would give Grace what for aerially. And not to mention the physicality. Now, Grace can handle the physicality. I've seen that. But after a while, it does get to her. And if you look at the Cadbury series last year, you know, when Victor was playing against her,
he was grabbing.
Yeah, well,
but it's good for her. It's good for her.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, you play to the umpires, eh, Wendy?
Yeah, man, that's the one.
So and she did start to get a bit upset, but to her credit, you know, whilst she did show it on her face, she kept playing and she kept playing hard and she kept putting the goals in the hoop. So...
Okay, we need to move to the midcourt, the problematic midcourt. There's 11 players in the mix. For me, I feel like Jenna Crampton and Shannon Saunders should be lock-ins.
Yep.
But who the heck is the starting centre? Is it Claire Kirsten or one of the young guns, Mila Riley Buchanan, Maddie Gordon, or a Kate Heffernan? What are your thoughts, Wendy?
Yeah, I've got Gina, Shannon, and then my other two are Maddie and Sam Winders.
Oh, I like that.
And Gordon.
Yep.
Yeah, and since she said 5, I've trapped my reserve and it'll be Kim Poi.
Yeah.
Well, if they're taking 3 extra players.
Dion, what about you?
Yeah, I've got Gina, Shannon, I've got Kimmy, Sam Winders. Sam Winders has always played really good tests against the Australians, always.
Yep.
My key player for for the mid-court for the Ferns this year would be Maddie Gordon. Maddie can run wing D, centre, wing attack, all just as effectively. You know, there's no gap in her game in all 3 of those positions, and I think... You know, she's a young gun. She's up and coming. She has low turnover. She has high turnover when she's playing defence. You know, against the opposition. I think she's the key to that midcourt.
Maddie Gordon is just so fearless. Like, she attacks the game. Like, even when she's on defence, she's attacking the game. And I like that you've included Sam Winders. The quad series in January, it appeared as though Noeline was edging towards Karin Berger at wing defence, but I wasn't sure where that left Winders, because Winders really stamped her mark on wing defence last year, and she won the Silver Ferns Player Award last year, so I wasn't sure where that left Winders. And the thing I love about Winders is that she's never intimidated by the Australians or by anyone. She just doesn't give a crap who you are. She just goes for it.
Yep.
And that's what I see in Maddie as well.
Yes. Yeah. I
think at that...
Go, Wendy.
Oh, I think at that level with Sam, I think she has to be in at wing D. I think her feeding at international level isn't up to standard. She can get away with it in the New Zealand comp, but I think she has to be, if she's on, it has to be in that wing defence role for the Ferns. And Maddie Gordon, as you said, down wing attack centre, wing D. She's had a remarkable season. I think her being out for that month or however long it was, I think that's actually going to be beneficial, because to me in that final, she looked the freshest out there. She just was going all day. So I think she's going to bring a lot of life. She'll get a lot of court time, and she'll just run out games, because she's had that wee break. She's fit, and we know she's fast, and she's strong.
Yep.
I think a lot of people will be saying Mila. She's had a great season, and she's a real workhorse. But for me, I don't really see X Factor. But she's a hard worker.
Agree. Yeah, I still come back to Kimmy over Mila, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, let's go to the defensive end. Kelly Jury, Shuan at goalkeeper.
Tick.
Yep. Sulu, her leadership. Is that a tick for everyone?
Yep.
Goal defence. Now, this is a tricky one. It's such a crucial role, trying to shut down a Gretel Tipper or a Helen Houseby. Who is the best place to do that? Is it a Christiana Manua? Is it a Phoenix Karaka, Kate Burley, or a Kayla Johnson? Dion, who are you edging towards?
If we're talking Australians specifically, I'm going Manua, because she's had experience in that competition. You can't buy that. She knows how those players play. She's she's proven this year that she can combine with Kelly and be really effective. She's still, her penalty count has reduced significantly since coming back and playing in New Zealand. But I just think, you can't buy that. Someone who's felt it and lived in it for three years or however long she was in the competition over there.
Wendy, who would you pick who else would you pick in that defensive end?
Yeah, I had Kelly Fitzpatrick, as we've just said. I've had Manoa in there because Dion's just covered it all. I think she's a very physical player. You could see some of the Kiwi goal attacks getting frustrated with her defensive side because it's so strong.
Yeah. For
me, her work on is attack. She loses far too much position for a goal defence, so I'm sure Auntie Knowles will sort that out with her.
Yeah.
And the other one I picked is Phoenix. I don't think you can go past her. I feel Phoenix and Sulu had a pretty quiet ever since Grace was out with the Mystics.
It was interesting, eh? Yeah, right down that defensive end, it was unusual.
I feel like they'll be looking back disappointed in their performance because, Grace is gone and the other two players who are experienced and needed to step up, but I just feel like they didn't gel as a combination. I'm not sure what was happening, but I don't think that will be the combination. Say if they make the final, I don't think you'd see Phoenix and Silly together after the way they've played together the last 5 weeks.
Okay, so Dion, congratulations on your recent appointment, promoted to head coach of the New Zealand men's team.
Thank you.
Getting ready for next month's Cadbury Series against the Silver Ferns, New Zealand A side, New Zealand mixed team. How much preparation are you going to get in the lead up?
Yeah, so 35 trialists, so we go into camp this Saturday in the morning in Auckland, and we'll come out of that on Sunday after a couple of fairly solid days. This is sort of, for us, it's leading into that real high-performance area where, we're going to really teach the players what high performance actually is, and to be at that level that they need to be at to compete against the world champs. And then we will go into camp probably 4 days. So we'll have 2 trainings a day. We'll go into camp 4 days before the Cadbury Series. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. So I'll be looking for not the age of the players that I had last year, but there's definitely the makings of a very, very solid and very experienced team to come out of this camp. And then there's 6 other spots also open to be in the mixed team. Yeah.
I know you've got quite a few Australian-based players, the likes of Junior Levy. Are all those guys available as well?
Yes, they are coming to trials. Junior's not available for the Cadbury Series. I'm actually not concerned about that. Like, he obviously adds a lot on and off the court. He's very professional. But, we've got some other shooters there that are more than capable of stepping into that role.